I garden because it gives me fulfillment. Not every task is equally joyful, of course, but today is one of those days when I get to do some of my favorite things: harvesting, sowing seed, and planting out a container for summer. Welcome to PDX Garden Home, where I grow in my driveway garden here in the maritime climate of the Pacific Northwest. Today, the peas are ready. There is something quietly satisfying about gathering a crop that has climbed, flowered, and finally offered up its pods. After that, I'll head to the potting bench to sow zinnia seeds, one of those simple summer rituals that fuels my vision for the season ahead. And then, I'll plant up a container using a pallet of seedlings I've grown: dahlias, peppers, calendula, and cosmos. There's a lot of fun to be had in the garden at this time of the year. So come along and let's garden. Well, I am excited to be harvesting peas. We've had peas for a couple weeks now, but only in little bits. I think I might actually have enough to get a whole basket now. That's what I'm out here to do, is to see if I can get a whole basket worth, if I can do it. The wind has been going. It was rainy and windy, and so it's blown my pea vines all over the place. So they look a little bit bare now, the way it's kind of blown them together. I had to teach Maddie to use both hands when harvesting so she didn't pull the vine out of the ground. Peas are one of those things that if you keep them harvested, then they can keep flowering, and you can theoretically get more that way. If you don't harvest them, if they'll go to seed, they'll quit flowering and you won't get as many repeat harvests. I don't know. It'd be interesting to look at some research on what the yield difference is between harvesting early and often versus not. Some guests for dinner, so if I can get enough here that we can share, that would be cool, but I'm not sure if we will. We'll see. Particularly if I eat them all. I'm not here. Whoa, that is sweet. That was good. With sugar snap peas, I find that they are the sweetest right as they actually start forming the little peas inside. And they start to have the little peas inside. It's like they get super sweeter. And then if you let them go too long and those peas really start that are inside start maturing, then it loses its sweetness, or that sweetness kind of into more of a starchy flavor, I think. Just kind of trying to put the branches, the vines back up on the trellis here as I go. Although it may be wasted effort if we're still going to get a bunch of wind tonight. I'm not sure what the weather has in store for us there. Shoots are also good eating. We're really grown with the intent of harvesting lots of shoots. I like to eat pea shoots, so might get them in an Asian supermarket often, or at a restaurant, and it's one of my more favorite veggies to eat, really. But I think this one is a different kind of pea. It's flat, it's more like a snow pea. I bet it's tougher to eat too. Gotten it mixed in with my, I think it actually tastes fine. Didn't taste too tough. It's a bit of an onion I'm eating just for snacking variety. Sometimes I come along and eat the tops off my onions just because I like the flavor. I think what I discovered is that these tall ones over here are shelling peas, because when I try them out, when I've tasted them, they're pretty tough, even though they're not even fully developed. And I usually do like one round of shelling peas and then the rest as sugar snap peas, but typically do. I forgot what I put where, so from here to there though, they seem tender, and then on the end back there they seem tender, but right here those seem pretty tough. So, and they are growing faster and different than these others too, so that all may be the case. Well, I don't know about this. That doesn't look like it's quite enough to share with guests. What do you think? I think I just eat them before dinner. Nobody will know. It is a rainy day today after a couple of days of 80-degree weather. It is down to degree weather with the lows dropping below 50 at night. So just when we thought the warmer temperatures were rolling in, they are giving us a last shot of here. Though looking at the 15-day forecast that we are going to, after this couple days of and coolness, we're going to get back into warming temperatures. So you don't plant for the day that you're currently on, you know, the zinnias, for example, and then, you know, squashes and other things that I'm planting today going to germinate over the next week to week and a half, and then they're going to be put out into the beds, you know, 30, 60 days from now. So, well, squashes maybe sooner, but zinnias, I would say 30 to 60 days from now. So it's really projecting what I think the weather will be like then. That is what is important, not like today. But it's certainly, a day like today makes me stop and think, am I doing this too soon? I don't know, what do you think? Throw some comments down there. I saw comments on a previous video that many of you are doing things similar to me in terms of your planting schedule. You're getting into your squashes and your cucumbers and so on, but excuse me. I'd love to hear more. I'd love to hear if you're thinking you're waiting at this point now that we're in mid-May, feeling a little cooler, or if you're charging ahead like I am. So this first packet of zinnias is the Queenie Lime Red Zinnia. I used to plant tons and tons of zinnias, but I have dialed back a little bit, just like I have on everything else, because of being in a smaller garden here, the driveway garden. And these came in an inner packet here. So let me pull that out and see what we got here and see what zinnia seed looks like. They're not the smallest seed, but they're not the biggest seed either, right? And they're flat. Okay, so I am going to get my little dibbler here. Let me make sure I'm supposed to cover these. I'm pretty sure I am. Yeah, there's nothing about planting just at the surface, so I'm going to cover these like I would normal seeds, what I think of as normal seeds. So many of my seeds you're just supposed to press into the surface, so to say that the ones that you actually cover are the normal ones is a relative statement. Like most things in life, there actually isn't a normal. There's just what you're used to versus something else that you may experience later. I am doing 2 per. I was debating whether I should, because these seeds coming in an inner packet like that feel so precious, but I think 2 per container makes sense. And it gets back to the point that I want to plant out the whole packet here, because I may want to try some different kind of flowers next year. And my little garden can only hold so much anyway, so no reason to be too conservative on these. That's still a lot. I mean, this is going to be more than 12 cells planted with this one variety of zinnia. Well, I said more than 12 cells, but just 12 cells actually is where I'm landing here. Okay, let me just cover those up. And that one is done. I mentioned it's rainy out here. You may see the wind and the rain, or hear it in the background, the wind blowing. Perfect day for being at the potting bench as opposed to out there. Because once I start getting used to the warmer weather, then I don't like I'm more sensitive to the wet and cold. It's like, you know, I garden year round, so I do infrastructure projects and things out here when it's rainy and cold, and sometimes even when it's snowy. And that's not a problem. But once it starts warming up and I get used to that, then a day like this when it's like rainy and a little bit cold, I feel it even more, and I don't want to be out there. So, okay. Is my lime queen. Queenie Lime. I said lime queen. Queenie Lime. Okay. Let me throw a tag on that. Very good. That one's ready to go. And we'll do another round, different kind of zinnias here in just a minute. All right. So now I've got a big packet of the California blend. So this is a mix of different colors. Zinnias actually come not only in different colors and varieties, but they have ones with different leaf shapes, or shapes I meant to say. But I'm not doing that this year, so I'm kind of sticking with just these classic California giant ones, what I think of as classic. But I've done the cactus versions and more kind of like a Diablo Fire version that is lots of reds and oranges, and yeah, love it all. It's all great. But I have to choose. I was like, well, I want the butter, the meat and potatoes of zinnias here. And the reason I think about that is these for cut flowers, if you like to do cut flowers. Anyway, that's where I'm at, and I'm gonna plant out this whole packet. See if that uses up this whole tray or not. I'm not sure. I'll do, rather than digging holes, I'm gonna do my little indentations here. Just because they're flat seeds, I'm gonna grab a little potting mix into a container that I can sprinkle on top of them. I think that'll work well for what I'm trying to do. Okie doke, there we go. Well, let's see, we've got a lot of seed in there, more than I'm gonna have in one hand right here. So this may be more than one flat of zinnia that I end up doing. Just talking a minute ago about being conservative with my small garden. This isn't gonna feel very conservative, but you can stack a lot of zinnias next to each other if you so desire. Zinnias and dahlias tend to carry my late garden. So as you get into August and September, all the way into October, I do have a bunch of dahlias sprouting in small containers, re-sprouting them to then transfer into their season-long containers, dahlia tubers that is. So I'll show you that in a future video. Shout out to Kendall's greenhouse. He's up in Washington and has a great YouTube channel, so check it out if you haven't seen it. Bought a pre-sprouting my dahlias before. Saw her doing it, and I thought, heck, I want to give that a try. Let me do that. If I can control something in the garden, I'm all about that. I'm giving it a try. And I wasn't going to say anything about it until I knew that it might be working for me, and I saw some roots forming on one of them yesterday, so now I'm disclosing that I am actually doing that, thanks to Kendall. Yeah, I'm trying to get 2 in each cell. I'm fat fingering some of these which is causing me to end up with maybe 3. That's okay. There's a gnat or something hovering around my nose. Sometimes with a seed like a zinnia, I'm not sure I know the difference between the seed and when there might be a little bit of chafe in there. They're pretty good. The seed companies are pretty good about, and this seed company in particular is pretty good about not having a lot of chafe in there, but they can't help it. Some's going to slip through, and I'm just not that sophisticated to necessarily know the difference. I see that there's another Cosmos. Me are kind of like that too. Sometimes I can't tell the difference between the seed and the chafe. I'm sprinkling some potting mix on the top here. These are to be covered, but I mean, they don't need an enormous amount of covering given how thin they are. They're not small by, if you're measuring on a flat plane, their length and width, but they are small if you're measuring their thickness. When you lay them flat, a little bit more than a piece of paper in thickness, it seems like. With cut flowers, one of my challenges has always been that I like to grow cut flowers with the idea that I'm going to cut them, but then once they start blooming in the garden, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to cut it because I don't want to lose the bloom in the garden. So some people I've seen, I took to doing this toward the end of my bigger garden, is kind of the way you would have like rows of raised beds for your veggies. They'll grow a flower garden or a cut flower garden, which just rows of raised beds or rows of flowers that aren't put together. They're not put into a design. I think it's helpful to not have it in a design because it doesn't then marry you to the idea that those flowers need to stay there. They're kind of they're just kind of sitting there in in a row, like a row of cabbages or a row of onions would be, and then you go along and you can cut those flowers and harvest them. So I think that if you have lots of space, that's a great way to separate your cut flowers from the ones that you actually want to keep blooming in your garden. In a small space, I can't really do that. So interplant them around, and then sacrifice some of the garden look to have a cut flower bouquet to bring into the house for my family, my wife, occasionally. Okay, these are the first tray of zinnias. I've got a bunch of seed left in here. I'm gonna do a whole, I think there's enough for just one more tray, so I'm gonna do a whole nother tray of these. Sprinkle a little bit of water on top of that. I'm gonna throw a humidity dome on that, and then put it into the garage for nation. So I'll see you back in just a minute. Look at that pile of zinnias there. If I'm putting 2 in each cell tray though, or in each cell, I'm not sure that we use up this whole tray, but we'll see. And as I've mentioned with other seedlings, you know, you might look at this and be like, how's he gonna plant all those zinnias in that small driveway garden? Well, I'm not. Some of these are gonna fail. I'm gonna give away some of them. I'm gonna keep some of them kind of potted up in the back reserve. But yeah, I don't get better at my own practice in gardening. Maybe the percentage that actually can get into our beds will increase. Fewer failures, we'll see. Maybe that means I have to give away more. The problem is I just really like growing seedlings. And it's a scale thing. It's like, well, if I'm gonna plant 24, at this point in the process, why not grow 48? Well, it's the experience of knowing what 48 means, or later when you've got them in bigger containers, or you're holding them or trying to figure out where to stuff them in your garden. It's that mess that would be the reason not to plant 48, even though it's super simple, 48 instead of 24 at this stage. I can say all that and I'm still 48. I'm fat fingering some of these again so that I'm ending up with several instead of just 2, with 3 seeds in one cell. Yeah, actually I said I wasn't sure if this would be enough for this whole tray. It's more than enough. I still have seedlings left over. I don't think I'm gonna plant more than this though. That would be crazy. Although, say, why not? Why not plant more than this? But I'm gonna, you know what I'll do is I'll save this seed and I'll wait till maybe I have something else to plant in a cell tray that won't fill an entire tray, and then I'll plant these as well so that I can manage just one tray of whatever it is I've got going on. Okay, let's some potting mix on top of these. You know what I just realized? Maybe you guys spotted it in the last video, but the way I cut these videos, it probably wouldn't be obvious to you, is that I forgot to put a label on my California Giants in the last I did. So I had 12 of the Queenie Limes, and then the rest of the tray was California Giants, but I only have one label in that tray that says Queenie Limes. And I'm debating, do I go back and fix that? Or do I just say, I should know that I didn't plant a whole tray of Queenie Limes? That would have been impossible. They don't give you that many seeds of those special varieties in one packet. Is ready. I'll sprinkle a little water on there. Oh, label. Let's not make the same mistake again. Okay, what I was gonna say is I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit with water, put on a humidity dome, and take that down to the garage, and I'll see you back here for something else. Now I get to do some of the really fun things. A lot of things I do in the garden, I do gardening for fun, are fun, but this is one of the most fun, the things that I wait for. In previous, as you may have seen, I was taking old bulbs out of the pots, things like daffodils and crocuses and hyacinth and tulips, and putting them off into a storage area off to the side of the house, and then refilling the pots with mix. And now I've also put fertilizer in this pot. I'll be doing this throughout the garden and bring you along with me. And this is where I get to paint with my palette. All these nursery plants of things that I've been growing from seed that I have available to me to work with. So here we go. Things I know for sure that I wanted to put in here is a dahlia. I don't actually know what kind of dahlia or what color this might be. This was planted from seed over a year ago and up over the last year and then over the winter and now. So that in here, and really if I put this in the center, you know, it would fill out and it could be enough for the pot, but need a lot of spaces for all my peppers. You've seen my pepper supply, so I am not going to let this pot be nothing but a dahlia. I'm going to do both. I'm going to put the dahlia in. I think maybe I'll put the dahlia here because the dahlia should grow bigger, taller than the pepper. So I'm going to put the dahlia in here. And then I'm going to put a Padron pepper right here. Padron is what I call the Spanish version of a shishito. The shishito is a Japanese version of the Padron, but they're very similar in that they can be anywhere from kind of a medium to very spicy, depending on the luck of the draw. They're fun to blister or blacken and eat as an appetizer with some salt kind of thing. I'm going to put these two as the kind of the dual centerpieces. Doing this, it's fun, but I'm by no means a designer. I just kind of have a sense of kind of what the height of various things are going to be or how various things might work and kind of what I think might look good, and I just try it out, and if it didn't look as good, then I try to remember not to do the same thing again. Some cosmos here, so I'm going to go ahead and these, put them kind of in the background here. We may have to trim this part back here for them to grow because the cosmos will grow really tall. So I don't know, putting cosmos in here, the height right here is maybe questionable, but give it a shot. And then along the front, I've got some calendula that I thought I would kind of stick into the front here. Probably room to put more stuff, but I'm gonna stick with that for now, kind of see how it starts to fill out and then come back and backfill this in with some other things later. Maybe I'd stick a French marigold here or there in there, but that's gonna be a pretty full pot when the fills out. Might get about this big and this tall, and it'll be here, and then the cosmos will be kind of lengthy and up here, and then these would be kind of bushing out here is what I'm hoping we will see. If it wasn't so cool out, I would gladly use my bare hands on this. Dig with a trowel or anything. This is pretty soft stuff in here. I'm gonna pull the bottom leaf off the stem here just so it's not getting caught up in the ground there. That's a nice, I like that. The roots are nice, bright and white, and they're filled out, but they don't look like they're overly like bound up or anything. So, I mean, I think this is perfect timing for the transplant of this pepper. And I'm bragging about it because that's not the common situation for me. I'm usually transplanting late or early, or there's something weird about it, but there's nothing weird about it. I think it looks pretty good. Well, the plant is a little bit weird, just kind of bent over, and we'll see what issues, if any, that has, but I'm pulling off some of the bottom leaves. Maybe I'll just anchor that bend over in the ground just to try to, I don't want to break the stem, but put the dahlia right beside it here. Let's see what that dahlia looks like in there from last year. I haven't tried taking it out of the pot all this time, so I'm curious. Yeah, I mean, this is a little more root bound. It's not terrible though. And there would be the bulb. So dahlias have like almost potato looking bulbs, I guess, in there, which I'll be able to pull out of this pot and save for next year after this one's done for the season. Now let me get those cosmos in the back. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll make little indentations back here. I love that I've got a different color than just white. Last year, I planted different colors, but the only color that survived to planting for some reason were the white cosmos. So I had nice, beautiful white cosmos around the garden, but no other colors, no other flavors. Now I got some different flavors going on. This might be too close to but I'm just gonna go ahead and do it anyway, because I can. I'll do 3 calendula there. And the idea is hopefully they'll kind of grow over the border here, but we'll see if my best wishes come true or not. Huh. That's actually, I mean, even though it's definitely ready to go, it's root bound a bit, but I like the amount of roots that I see there. Let me see if I can split this apart here. Yeah, good. And throw that one there. So I've got one left in this cell tray that I can use somewhere else. And that leaf, I don't like the fact that it's sticking out of the dirt. I buried the pepper stem to try to grow more roots on it. I buried the pepper stem to give it more structural stability. My experience is that that's okay. It won't hurt the plant to do that. I don't think it necessarily helps it from a vigor standpoint or anything, but look better, look more architectural is that the right term for that? Look more structural, look more planned in the pot here. And there we are, peas harvested, zinnias grown, and a container planted for summer. I really felt the flow of the garden today, and it was wonderful. I hope this gives you a bit of encouragement to get outside, harvest what's ready, sow something hopeful, and make room for a little bit more beauty in your own garden. We're just in the opening act of the season, so please consider subscribing and joining us for the rest of the journey. Thanks for gardening with me, and I'll see you in the next one.